is another episode of Sorry for Rambling. I'm Alex Kack. It's the end of May of 2020. It somehow does not feel like it's only been 5 fucking months of this year, but we are joined today by Corey Ryan Forrester, comedian and author and kind of everything. How you doing, Corey?
Hey, I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I've never been called kind of everything. That was nice. That was nice to hear.
Oh, you're a. I mean, who isn't a polyhyphenate though?
I know. You have to be.
Yeah. You have to have a side hustle, otherwise you will starve to death. So
100%.
You're in Georgia right now, is that correct?
That is correct. That is where I live.
How you doing over there?
It's good. It's been business as usual in Georgia for the past couple weeks, I guess, since our lovely Governor Brian Kemp decided, whatever, diseases aren't real. So it's been kind of odd because I had a lot of people that were asking me, because I live in Georgia, but I'm constantly in communication with my touring partners who are living in Burbank and LA and whatever. And they were like, so, hey, is everybody in the South taking it pretty serious, the disease that is? And I was like, I mean, I think, but I don't know, because I'm taking it so serious that I haven't gone out to see. And then I finally did have to go to the grocery store not too long ago. And I would say there was probably like 20% of the people at the store, including me, were wearing masks. And there wasn't any hostility, but I did get a woman. This is what she did to me. She didn't call me a liberal queer or nothing for wearing a mask. But as she walked past me, she looked me up and down, stopped on the mask, and just went, and then just walked on. So,
just like the exhale right at you.
Yeah. Just like, I can't believe you sheep sitting there wearing a mask. But Georgia's good. It's fine. Me and mine are healthy, and I'm happy that I got put on lockdown when I was at home. So it's what it is.
Now, how close are you to what's going on in Atlanta?
About an hour, about 2 hours, depending on traffic.
So some good distance at least, because
yeah.
That looks like a whole hell of a situation.
Yeah, man. I mean, where I live in Chickamauga, Georgia, it's rural Georgia. The closest big city I'm near is Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I mean, it's not really a big city; it just is to us. So, I don't really. I mean, look, I'm all. I support the protesters. Do your thing, but I don't want no part of it. And the reason I say that is because I don't look immediately like someone who's on the right team. You know what I'm saying? Let's face it. I have. There's a lot of exposition that I have to do in order to make people go, oh, the guy in the trucker hat with the accent, he's one of us. He's good.
Oh, shit.
And by the way, my people deserve that.
I don't know about that part, but it is. I mean, because that's kind of, I wouldn't call it a shtick, but that is part of, I think, something that drew interest to your career originally.
Yeah.
Is you were part of this kind of whole contingent of Southern-based comedians and commentators and authors and all these things who have kind of come out in the last 5 years, who are white guys with thick drawls who are pretty actively talking about the fact that they aren't racist, that they are, somewhere on the spectrum of the left, and a lot of you guys are. It seems like specifically doing it through the vein of comedy. But what is that experience like? I mean, how do other people kind of take it at first glance?
Well, number one, you're correct in the sense that it seems as if we've just come out of nowhere in 5 years. That is true. But the way that we talk about it, and this is just accurate. I'm currently in my 16th year of doing stand-up comedy, and I've never done it any different than I do it right now. It's just that, I mean, as much it was the election, man. I mean, it was this. We've clearly been divided on a lot of things. I had a bit in my old act that was on our album about how we as people aren't more offended, and we as people aren't more divisive than we've ever been. It's just that Facebook exists, and so we all see everything now. Like used to, people were like, I hear like my dad, for instance, who I love, but he's a baby boomer product of the 70s, whatever. And he'll be like, back when I was a kid, people just, there were jokes and blah, 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 and people weren't offended by that stuff. And I just always tell them, like, how would you know? Like, how would you have known? You didn't have any black kids in your school and you didn't talk to any, not that he wouldn't, but like there weren't any around, and there wasn't like, yes, they were offended. Trust me. They were mad. Like people, things that have been offended have always offended people. There just wasn't a platform for them to go speak on. So like, as far as our comedy goes, it was just one of those, like the election happened and all of a sudden there was this guy who was from New York, by the way, Silver Spoon born. And for some reason he decided that he represented my people and people with this accent. And then like, it's not like I'm not used to like the coastal elites thinking that racism only exists in the South, or that stupid people all have a accent that sounds like mine. I'm used to that, and it's become like a trope at this point that I don't even think about it. But then Trump comes out, and all of a sudden he's wearing a trucker hat, and he's doing his huge rallies in the South, and I think that the spotlight was just on us, and there we were, and it felt, and I guess we were more loudly saying, "Hey, not us." Not that matters. I mean, I don't want to sit here and be like, woe is me, the redneck people, my people have been so persecuted. That's not true. But I do think it's important that people out there, whether they be, people of color or LGBTQ or whatever, any type of oppressed race or gender or sexuality, I want them to know that they don't have to be scared of this accent, and that's just, I don't know, man. It's just like how not everybody in California is also a vegetarian liberal. Like there's the OC exists. Like there's a bunch of conservative dickbags out there. The world is weird. The world is full of zany characters. So I don't know, man. I think it's just that the spotlight was on us. We didn't do anything different. We didn't attempt to exploit that. It got exploited through us, and we just have continued to do comedy like we always have, and it's working out.
Well, I do think that there's something to that. And I think even that video of me that went viral, where there is something about like white liberals and kind of the northern states, the coast, who are like looking for anything from the South or like traditionally red states to be like, oh, look, they're not all bad.
Yeah.
Or, and I think there's, on the one hand, it's like at times it can be almost patronizing.
Yes.
And then,
bad.
Like so bad. And the other time, like it is good to have it out there and say like, no, not everybody that's white from where I live is, a horrifying racist. In fact, I'd say probably I don't know if I'm comfortable saying most of us aren't, but a decent number of us aren't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess my thing on that is just that, like, you can say that and that'd be fine, but like, I just think that there's just a bunch of shithead racists everywhere, man. Like, just period. Like, if you want to go just by the political divide and you go, okay, well, let's say hypothetically, Democrat means not racist and Republican means racist. I'm not saying that that's true. I'm just saying hypothetically, let's say that that's the case. So you look at the South and you go, well, they typically vote more Republican, and that's who we're deeming as the racist. Therefore, but it's like, here's the deal, though. It's like, no, it's less than 60-40, the split. So like you're looking at 40 to 45% of the state of Tennessee or the state of Georgia or whatever that voted for Hillary Clinton. So that's not, oh, there's a couple people in the South who didn't vote for Donald Trump. There was fucking, I'm sorry for cursing, millions of people that did not. Millions. Not a couple, not me and Trey and Drew, not just a handful of nice people on Twitter. Millions. And to the adverse, in California, there were millions who voted for Trump. And in New York, there were millions who voted for Trump. In Vermont, like it just, again, we're shifted in the direction that I would not like us to be shifted in, but we're talking about like 8%. So,
yeah. I mean, and that really is the shit of it, and a lot of times I think it has to do with like specific population centers. Like I know here in Arizona, so like we have 3 like major metropolitan areas, right?
Yeah.
And they're all a couple hours from each other. 2 of them are full of like the nicest, most salt of the earth. And also they happen to politically be liberal people you've ever met in your fucking life. the flip side of that is we also have Phoenix and a bunch of rural shit.
Yeah.
And that is not the case in those areas,
Yeah, no, that's 100% true.
Yeah. So it gets really hard sometimes to like the way that specific groups, even if it's just 5% more, sway a whole like region's identity.
Yeah.
And
I'm fine. Listen, like I said earlier about me, the trucker cap wearing, mustache redneck, we have certainly earned a lot of the shit that we get. We have certainly earned it. I just don't, it just has always infuriated me that my accent is a catch-all for racist, misogynist, homophobic dude, where when the guy in the White House has a Manhattan accent.
you're talking about like levels of bigotry. That I was working for like the biggest racist I ever met in my whole life at one point, and it was not when Trump actually ran, but it was when he was like 4 years prior, when there was like rumors he might. And I'll never forget.
Yeah, when he had the big roast and when Truthergate started or whatever.
Yeah, I'll never forget this guy talking about why he thought it was a good idea, and he was like, he sounds like he's from Queens, but we could still do worse. And I was like, and he was a Manhattanite himself. He was an old man. He's dead now. And I just remember just being like, damn, that's a level of like bigotry.
Yeah.
Or you're just like, I mean, you're from the wrong zip code.
No, I know. That's a real thing though, man. Like I used to live in Queens. I lived in Forest Hills, Queens, which is a fairly nice area of Queens, but there still were people when I'd be in Manhattan doing shows, not other comics. Comics aren't judged. Most of the comics lived in Queens. But I would see people and I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to head home. They're like, oh, where do you live? And I'd be like, oh, I live in Queens. They're like, ugh. Like, just because you're not living in the city, you're not actually living in the city. What is your problem? But Queens definitely, and Queens is the working class area of New York, which is why I lived there and loved it. It was my favorite place on earth. It was the first place when I lived in Queens. I actually had to explain to a group of men at the greatest bar in the world, Donovan's in Woodside, Queens. This is a plug. If you're ever in the Queens area, go to Donovan's. It's the literal center of New York, Woodside, Queens, and it's the best bar in the world. And I was sitting there talking with a bunch of the dudes, and I had on a Braves hat, and I ordered a beer, and this dude heard my accent. He was just like, oh, you Braves fan? Oh, Chipper Jones, huh? Fucking Chipper Jones. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So they go through this whole thing about how like they hate the Braves, but they still respect Chipper. And I'm like, well, you better. He owned you at Shea Stadium. Are you shitting me? So we go through this whole thing, and then they're sitting there calling me a redneck. And I didn't care because these are working class dudes from Queens, and I knew I had an opportunity here. And I said, really, I'm a redneck. I was like, do you know that the only difference between you guys, let me explain this as far as how rednecks goes. I've been sitting here in this bar where you guys have been for 3 hours. You just got off your job at, I'm assuming, a factory, because they all had on like factory shirts. So yeah, and I was like, hey, you're working at the factory. You come here to the local bar. You've been doing nothing but shitting on your boss and talking shit about your wife. The literal only difference between you guys and my uncle is that my uncle has a pickup truck. And they were like, well, I'll tell you what, I'd love if I could have a pickup truck. You try parking here in Queens. I was like, see, we're actually better than you. And the dudes laughed so hard, and we became best friends. And I didn't buy another drink anytime those dudes were in here. But so yeah, I can see Queens. The reason that I got along with those people so well is I think that they do have that chip on their shoulder.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's one of those weird things, right? Like, I think in America we love to break shit down regionally and by like different demographics like that. The reality is like there is way more like just kind of working class, I don't know, solidarity, not to get like too fucking like highfalutin political, but like, I mean, yeah,
no,
like,
right, I think.
Yeah, it really is like, and I feel like I can kind of go anywhere and talk to like just working folk and feel pretty fucking comfortable regardless of what part of the country it's in.
Oh, they'll get it. Yeah, usually, I mean, if you go talk to true working folk, y'all hate the same things, or or can get there at least. Yeah, for sure. And they're also going to be the funniest.
Oh yeah. Oh, every damn time, because they have to be.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the only way you survive that fucking work and grind.
Absolutely.
I see you in the kind of this weird way, and we talked about the way like you represent yourself like externally, and how you represent people with your accent kind of externally to the rest of the country. Um, but is there also a side of it that, you know, like through humor and through presenting yourself just kind of authentically as who you are and what you think, that you are creating kind of more of an opening for other people with your accents to publicly feel the same way? Is that something that you think is a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, and I've actually heard people that come to our shows, and I don't necessarily think that maybe this term should be co-opted since it is probably very sacred to the gay community. But there's probably no better analogy. We've had people come up to us and say that they were, because they lived in the South and their family was all conservative. They have been closeted liberals their entire lives, and thought, oh, I can't say anything because I'm going to get in a fight with my family, or no one around me feels this way, and I'm going to get in a fight at school, or I'm going to blah 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 blah. And so when they saw us put out a book, and then they saw all these other people on Twitter like, hey, I sound like you and I feel the same way, they're like, I finally had the courage. And one of them was, I remember this one girl in Huntsville, Alabama, who was like, turns out this girl who I'd been like best friends with at school for years also felt that way. And we never had confided in each other because we were both so scared, because they both still grew up in church. Because like where I'm from, even if you don't believe in church, you have to go to church. I don't anymore. But like when I was a kid, like I remember being, this is how cynical I am. I remember being very mentally done with church at 9. I remember at 9 years old just being like, yeah, no. But I had to keep going until I was able to like be an adult and make my own decisions, because that's just what you did. And so these girls were like, they'd been friends for so long, and neither one of them had ever once confided in the other one that I think you should be able to get an abortion if you want to get one. Now, saying all that the way that I just said it makes it sound like we're more important than we are. But because of those people, we were given a platform, and because of our platform, we were able to show people that, well, in my opinion, who gives a shit what your friend's going to think? You should say something. And if how I've grown as a person now, I guess I've just realized I don't need that many friends. And if something like me saying, hey, George Floyd shouldn't have been kneed to death, if that's going to make somebody that I grew up with be like, man, I thought I knew Corey, then I guess you didn't. So we're done here,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it is kind of that difference of like what's an issue of morality versus what's political,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think of that all the time when like something like this will happen, and people will start talking about it, and always somebody will go, oh, I don't like to get political. I'm like, this isn't political. I mean, it is. Everything is political. Like if we want to really break it down, from the soda you drink, from the content of sugar in the soda you drink, it's going to somehow be political. Politics are somehow going to get wrapped up in everything. But if you look at the clear murder, when you see a video or anything like that of someone, and you think that you taking a stand makes you political, and that's going to possibly hurt you, why do you want the business of people who believe otherwise? And also, like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like you said, morality your morals should be your morals. Murder is murder. And I don't dude, I don't even know what to say on that subject. Like that blows me away. I have conversations with people all the time that are like, Corey, you're funny without your politics. And I was like, well, first off, I really don't if you come see my show, I'd talk about like societal issues, because every comedian, that's what comedy is. Like every comedian on earth does. But I'm not up there Bill Maher'ing it, straight from the head. Not that Bill Maher's not great, but like that's not what I'm doing. I don't think I've said Trump's name in 3.5 years on stage. I have very much alluded to the man, but I've not said his name. Like I don't do that shit. But I've had people say, if you just dropped the politics, you'd have twice the fans. And there's 2 answers I have to that, which is, number one, I might not have any. Because the only reason that I had any is there's people go, wow, we love the juxtaposition of this dude's accent and how he believes. But also, man, it would suck if I can't stand the thought of someone who had an AR-15 at the courthouse steps demanding to go get a haircut. I can't stand the thought of that motherfucker buying a ticket to see my show. Fuck him. I'm glad that he don't want to come.
Yeah.
You know, like if it means that I make $50,000 next year and not $100,000, I'll live. You know, that'll be okay.
But it's a weird
Sorry,
thing.
I didn't mean to go on a tangent.
No, fucking, that's the whole point of the show, man. You know, it's a really fucking weird thing, honestly, in comedy too, where I think you want to have space for people to say what they think and what they feel and how what their actual like experience is, because that's what's fucking funny. But at the same time, like, especially with newer comics, I remember running open mics, and you know, you'd catch someone, and it's like you don't want to pull them off stage unless they go fucking like crazy with stuff.
Sure, yeah.
But you might, like, as they're like getting off, they're done with their 3-5 minutes, whatever. You know, you kind of catch them, and you're like, hey, you know, like you walked a bunch of people, like, you know, why? Like, you have to almost bring it to them softly, right? And be like, why do you think that is? You know, and,
and it still doesn't work.
Well, you know, the thing I noticed is, I actually learned this from the guy. I used to host this mic with this guy. First person who ever gave me a spot hosting fucking anything. He would bring me up every once in a while as an occasional host. It was his mic. It was this bar mic. And he put a lot of like energy into me for some fucking reason. And then he made me a co-host of the show with him. And his name's Kevin William Lee. He's a fucking phenomenal comic. If you're ever looking to just look up some shit on YouTube.
Okay.
And he's here in Tucson. But he's the one who taught me how to kind of almost like massage, especially with like the young dudes, like their feelings versus like trying to be like, hey, like this mic isn't going to last if you chase the whole fucking audience out.
Yeah.
And also like what you're saying is not fucking funny. And
yeah, that's the key I've found. The whole, like, it's pretty, because I grew up doing conservative rooms. That's all I did. Like, the room that I started in was a conservative room. And as I told you earlier, I've still been the same comic. I had to figure out a way to get my liberal jokes, which a lot of my jokes are just jokes. They're just funny jokes. They're all, I mean, yes, they're about the South because write what you know. But I think they're from a different perspective. They are from the perspective of a liberal person in the South. That doesn't mean every joke ends with hashtag Black Lives Matter. Y'all don't know shit. But I grew up in these conservative rooms, so I had to find out a way to get my point across in a way that I wanted to get my point across, make it funny, and make it to where the people in the crowd didn't walk or wait and beat the shit out of me. And I had so many people that would come up to me after shows and be like, man, I don't agree with you, but that was funny. Or sometimes it would be, I never thought about it that way, because humor's weird that way. If you get somebody to laugh, their endorphins spike, and then they hear a point, and as they're laughing at it, they go, oh, shit. Now, I'm not saying that guy didn't go regress back to his, I didn't save a human being, is what I'm saying. That's not, nor do I try to, nor will I ever do that. But like, funny is funny is funny. And that's really the key. Like, a lot of people go up there and they think, oh, I walked people, they're pussies. But it's like, no, dude, sometimes it really was you. Like, it wasn't fun. Nobody in here is it's like the mom that was watching her son in the Army walk, and he was out of step, and she's like, look, everybody's out of step except my son. That's how the comic feels when he's on stage and nobody in the crowd laughs. For some reason, in that moment, he is smarter than everyone in the room, and all the comics that got up before him that were able somehow to make this stupid audience laugh are just hack pieces of shit who aren't telling the truth, man.
Well, it is one of those fucking things. Like, I think, you bomb, that's almost 100% just like it is on you at the end of the day.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. Like, I like to look at it almost as like 100% of the fucking time in reality. And there are times when, like, sometimes it just means that, like, you're not the right fit for that room or that audience.
Sure.
And that's still ultimately on you. It doesn't mean you're a bad comic or you're not funny, but like, I'll never forget the show I had the hardest time on was a booked gig in Sierra Vista, Arizona, which is this like small little fucking town, and it's got an army base, and it's the show's in the back of a fucking Chinese food restaurant. There's literally like a koi fish tank.
Man, you just pulled all the tropes out of the hat for that one.
Right? And they got a little stage and a huge seating area for some fucking reason, and it's packed because there's nothing else to do there. But it's packed full of like 3 categories of people. One is like very active, like drug using rednecks. 2 is military dudes, and 3rd is like hardcore religious conservatives.
Oh man, that is a terrible game of rock paper scissors.
And all of them spent money to get in that show. This is not something where it was just like a 2-drink minimum. They spent like probably $20 to get into that fucking show.
Oh my god.
And it's a 4-person bill, including the host. I'm featuring, and I think I had like a weird set time too. It was like I want to say 15 or 20.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like the first 5 minutes are just floundering because it's like, oh, that group kind of chuckled, but these people hated it, so I need to clean it up. Okay, now they're laughing, and the army dudes think this is the worst thing ever. End of the day, though, I more or less bombed. I made it through my thing, getting a laugh from this segment and that segment. Yeah. But I fucking bombed, you know? Here's the other thing, though. Like, I bombed. The guy hosting bombed. But you know who didn't fucking bomb was the headliner. He fucking slayed everybody in the room the whole time.
Yeah, I knew what he was doing.
Yeah. So, like.
You can do it. I mean, that's like – it's like working Myrtle Beach. Like, Myrtle Beach every night is pretty much what you just described because – no, like when you do comedy, I feel like it's like the best case scenario for comedy is for like, I won't say hive mind, but like for the audience to kind of all be similar from the same place. So you know they're going to react to the same stuff. So once you kind of get in that flow, it's like riding bareback on a horse, baby. It's just a dance, you know. But whereas you go to Myrtle Beach and like, yeah, you got people from Boston and you got people actually from the South and you got people from here, and here. So, like, you're riding one thing. You're like, I'm in Myrtle Beach. I'm going to talk about the South. But then, like, half the audience is just there from, you know, New Hampshire. And so they're not getting it. But you do 5 shows in Myrtle Beach. Maybe the first one, the headliner will struggle a little bit. But after that, they're like, oh, wait a minute. I got it. Don't worry about it. I know how to pop back and forth, blah, 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 blah. But it can. But, yeah, when you're first starting out doing a mixed crowd, and I mean, like, you know what I mean. It's not. That's normally not the deal. You want everybody to be at least kind of cohesive. But yeah, man, that's I've been in situations like that when I was starting out where like every single human being on a show bombed. And you're like, man, this room it ain't nobody's fault. It's the room. And then here comes old seasoned, 25 years on the road, 7th place on Last Comic Standing, just drank a bottle of whiskey because he's bitter, but then fucking murders the room because he knows the deal.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it really is that. I mean, it really is just. I mean, funny is funny, and like you said, you're not saving that like that. You didn't save that dude's soul, but fuck, man, to this day, I've never found anything that conveys ideas better than a joke.
I agree.
And the flip side of that is, whenever you work with conservative comics or you talk to like politically conservative comics and like that's their shtick. Have you ever done that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, well, that it was their shtick. There's a couple guys who it's their shtick now. And I kind of think it's like, so what happened to us was we'd always been doing liberal country comedy, but then the election happened and all of a sudden now we're in the spotlight. There's a lot of these dudes who like, they were definitely always politically conservative, didn't necessarily bring that to the stage. And I knew these guys and we'd talk off mic about their political conservatism. And I knew that about them, but it wasn't no big deal. But now there's a couple of these dudes that I mentioned who are like, they've put together tours now that are basically like, are you sick and tired of people telling you that you can't say stuff? Like, remember back in the day when we used to just say stuff that we wanted to say? Well, come out to our show. We'll say all that stuff. So yeah, like there's a couple of dudes that are definitely branding themselves that way now, and it's a response to like they think that political correctness and liberalism is ruining comedy and blah blah blah. But I haven't talked to them since they've been doing that. No, to answer your question in a 6-minute way.
I mean, look, that's how you get to a real answer, right? And the thing that like to me, like, it goes back to that same thing as like funny is like, I've worked with some like politically conservative comics who do like a lot of political material, and like it fucking, like, it just always fucking falls flat unless they're doing a niche room that's there just to see that. And so like when they branch out and they'll do a different show, they're always complaining afterwards. You know, they're always like, oh, you know, fucking room full of pussy, blah, blah, blah. The flip side of that, though, is like, I got 2 buddies here in Arizona who are like hardcore fucking libertarians, and their material is full of that type of material, but it's not like social conservatism, you know?
Right.
And so they'll be calling these things out on stage, and it's fucking funny, and they're fucking funny, and they're good. And I've talked to them about it a couple times. I mean, it's still the difference of like, you know, they're making a point. They're not punching down on people. And I think that's the one thing that, like, I think these people have a hard time with. It's like it kind of fucks with me, because I go back to my open mic example, right? That's like kind of the first thing you learn when you're doing comedy is like,
punch up.
Yeah. You know, don't be a bully. Like, this isn't a locker room. But there's like a weird niche of comedy that like is online and touring right now, where it's like, that's kind of all it is just like locker room jokes.
Yeah, because that's their big response is, oh, these comedians are all out there talking about social justice and blah 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 blah. Well, we're just gonna pepper the word rape into otherwise, you know, comedic soliloquy completely bereft of any point or punchline or whatever. Like, it makes no sense. I mean, you know, whatever. Like, honest to God, like, if I'm being serious, I've started just looking at those people and kind of just being like, oh, like, I feel bad for them. Like, I don't even hate them anymore. Like, I feel so bad that they think they can't. Because, dude, the thing is, like, all those conservative comedians I know that used to have just really good material, like, it would work. Like, it would totally work. I remember when you weren't just going on stage talking about, like, well, maybe if I just chop my dick off, I can get on a magazine, dirt to dirt. Like, I remember when you weren't doing stuff like that and it was making people laugh, but now you think you have to do this. And, like, realistically, the people in the audience that are laughing are like, there's 10%. They're all dudes who are just like, yeah, right. He said it. And the rest of them are those dudes' wives who are just scared because that dude has punched them before.
Oh, shit. No, I mean, you're fucking right, though, you know?
That's punching down in a funny way.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, that's still punching up, because you're
right. No.
Yeah, you're not making fun of women. You're fucking talking about an issue. Like, and that's always the difference, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the record, though, I think you should be able to make fun of shitty women. You know, I'm not so far left that I'm like, even if they're a racist, they're still a woman. You know,
oh, God.
I don't do that shit.
There is kind of that vein sometimes. Doing bar shows is always weird, because you always get someone who like pays a cover or something to get in, but like didn't plan on going to that show that night.
Yep, absolutely. It sucks so bad, and you know who they are, and I feel bad for them. They feel bad for me sometimes.
Those are my favorite shows to do. I will do a bar. I'll do a dive bar show over a club show every day, because like I want to have that like audience interaction. Like, because if I can make that person laugh, like, then like maybe I'm actually doing the right thing.
No, that's 100%. That's 100% true. When you win over a hostile environment, you walk out like Iron Man, dude. Like, you're like, yeah, man, I'm something. Then you get your $10 in nachos, and you're like, yeah, I really did something here.
Yeah. Which brings me to a question: like, touring on the road, how has that experience over the last 4 years changed? Especially since kind of you and Trey and everybody blew up.
Well, it's weird, man. It feels like so much has changed in 4 years, yet nothing has. I'm still like, I remember the first time we sold out a theater. It was, I think, because when the tour first started, nobody knew the reach. Nobody knew what was going to happen. And so we were doing exclusively rock halls and clubs. But then, like, these clubs, we were selling out the whole weekend. And our manager was like, hey, why don't y'all need to start thinking about doing theaters? And we were all like, no, we're club comics. I'd rather do it. Which, by the way, I maintain that, like, still to this day, like I love doing theaters. I love the feeling of walking out into a sold out theater. I would still rather do 7 straight shows at a really good comedy club, like every time. Some theaters are different, but like for the most part, like I would rather do a whole lot of shows at a comedy club than one show at a theater. But when you're wanting to hit as many cities as you can, it makes more sense to like, hey, we would have sold 1,500 seats in this comedy club over 5 days. Let's just do one show at the local theater. And then the next night we can already be to this different place. So the feeling when we first sold out, the theater we first sold out was the Texas Theater where they caught Lee Harvey Oswald. So that was crazy enough on its own. But like just knowing that we did that, it was so wild. I remember walking out on stage just being like, holy shit. I don't know. Like it felt like the very end of a movie where like the person, I finally did it. This is awesome. Then, somebody comes up and shoots me or whatever. But I still haven't lost that. Like that's still amazing. Anytime we go walk out and we've sold out a theater or something, I still get those like kid goosebumps. And I also I think it's called imposter syndrome where I constantly am looking over my shoulder, waiting for someone to go, all right, we figured it out. You don't belong here. And I'm just going to, you got me. All right. I'll go back to my house. I certainly don't belong here. Cause like we had a for a while before the pandemic, we had a quarterly show at Largo in Los Angeles. And like, we were constantly having like Adam Sandler would drop by and do our show and Zach Galifianakis would drop and Neil Brennan did our show like 5 times. And like Nick Kroll, John Mulaney would come work out their like award show shit at our show. And you talk about like, seeing those dudes and just being like, what am I doing here? Like, there's no way that I belong here. But I mean, it's, I don't know. It's definitely changed me as a person. It's, I would be lying if I didn't say I didn't have a little bit more of an ego. Cause I'm like, look at all this shit I can do. I've accomplished these things. But at the same time, it's made me want to work harder because I don't ever want this shit to go away. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole, I've growing up doing, I started doing comedy at 16. Not like when I stepped on stage for the first time at 16, we'll say that. It wasn't like, how much are you able to commit while you're in high school and right after high school? But in those years, like I saw a bunch of comics that I've known for the past 15 years who it's like they had it and then they just rested on their laurels and they were like, oh, I got it. And I've learned from that to like work harder now than I've ever worked because I don't want to let this go. It's been crazy meeting all the people and like we've got a freaking loyal fan base. They're such awesome people and we communicate with them on Twitter and social media and they come out to the shows and I don't know, just so those people I was talking about earlier who said, man, it's so great to hear you guys because I didn't think anybody felt like this that had my accent. I'm kind of guilty of feeling that way too. So like this tour on the other, like I tell people all the time, like I know we're the ones on stage and I know that everyone's like, you're the real stars. I don't mean to do that shit because no, I am. But what I'm saying is like the fan reaction and stuff really made me go, oh my God, we actually aren't alone. We do represent a good group of people. That's fucking cool. So I think it's made me a better person and a worse person at the same time, depending on who you ask and if that person is my wife.
So what's next for you? Because you talked about you want this to keep going. Obviously, I mean, we're all in fucking lockdown still, and who knows when touring shows are going to be really safe or even really well attended. I mean, are you working on anything else?
Yeah, well, I mean, we constantly have our podcast. That's one thing. But when touring starts up, I do not know. But yeah, we've got a lot of irons in the fire, me and the boys and me individually. Me and the boys still have a deal with ABC, and we're currently working on like the 5th iteration of our pilot that was just rebought and is now rebought by the studio, and we're now about to take it out to some networks. It was really crazy. So the last time I was on stage, I probably have the longest drought of any comedian in the country that's actually working because my last time on stage was December 20th because I know, right? Because December 20th, we do our big Christmas homecoming shows in Nashville. All our buddies come. We get a big place. It's fucking awesome. We do the whole weekend at Zany's. We do like a Christmas themed cantata. Like we'll do like a parody of like the Scrooge shit, and we sing songs, and it's a merry time. And so we're going to work on this pilot, and we decided, we're like, hey, let's take January and February just completely off the road so we can work on this pilot. And then come March, we'll hit the road again like nothing happened. The literal day we were going back on tour, we flew from LA to Raleigh, and as soon as we landed, my agent called me and said, hey, might as well just go home because they just canceled the shows because there's this coronavirus thing that's about to happen. And we're like, well, what's that? So we're working on that pilot together. We also I'm pretty sure that I think I can say this, but I'll beat around the bush just in case I'm not allowed to. We just signed a deal to work on a cartoon with a network that specializes in comedy. I'll say that. So I think legally I'm fine. So
I wonder what you're alluding to right now. God, who knows?
Right before the pandemic, I finished.
It's True TV, right?
Yeah, exactly, 100%. That's yeah. Is that the channel that the Impractical Jokers come on?
No fucking idea.
Yeah, me either. It's not that one. Right before this, I just filmed a pilot for a Food Network that was about to come out. It was supposed to come out like last month, but they called me and they were like, yeah, we can't put it out because the whole deal with the pilot is if people like it, we got to film more, and we can't film more right now. So, all right, how about the fall? Is that good for you? I was like, I don't think I get to decide. You gave me a check to do the pilot. So, and I just wrote a game show for Game Show Network that we just did the test run the day before I flew to Raleigh and found out that we had to come off the road. So we did the test run for it. We'll see how that goes. Everything right now is just it's just on pause. Like it's a big pause button. And I'm just in the interim, trying to stay in my emails. Hey, how you guys doing? Hope everybody's that way. When they hit play again, they remember that I was in the VCR, if that makes sense. Because it was so scary. Because I was talking to my mom, I was like, man, because after all the stuff I just laid out for you, like I'm not trying to brag, but that's a lot of shit. This was going to be my year, dude.
Yeah.
This is going to be it. But like all those things are still, like I filmed the pilot, all those things are still happening. I'm just hoping that, not hoping, like everybody's screwed. Like it ain't just me. So I was telling my mom not too long ago, I was like, I can handle this because I've been unemployed before, but like this is the first time I've ever been unemployed like with everybody else. So it is kind of unique and weird. But I've been working on some pilots and a feature that I'm working on in my downtime because I think that, especially in our world, just in comedy, the ones who are really going to come out of this thing winning are the people who put in the work while we couldn't be on stage and stuff. So if anybody's listening to this and you're an artist and you feel down because of all this, I totally understand that. But I do think that now is the time to do that thing that you always said that you would do if you weren't working on this thing or you weren't on the road or whatever. Do it. And if for nothing else, man, it gets your mind off of shit, which is funny. I'm working on a period piece that takes place in 1918, which is when the Spanish flu was.
Yeah, that's the opposite of getting your mind off shit.
But it's been kind of easier to write, I guess. I get the tone of the people a little bit more.
You write what you know, right?
You write what you know, man.
One last question for you. I like that. I think I know the answer to this, honestly, but I like to ask everybody the same thing, which is, through all of your work, through just the way you live your life, what's the thing that you most hope to convey to other people?
A little bit of what we were talking about earlier, that just because you have my accent doesn't mean you're a dipshit. Me and Mark Twain had a similar accent. I don't think anybody's calling him a dipshit. Andre 3000, he's from the South. I think he's pretty smart. Martin Luther King was from here. Now, not in any way trying to make that. Please don't think. I'm pretty much, listen, I've had a dream.
Oh my fucking God.
I also, another thing that me personally, that I want to convey, I can't speak for the other guys on our tour, the Well-Read Comedy Tour, but like, I love being goofy. I love playing kind of the dumb guy. And also I like talking about political stuff in the South, and I like talking about societal things in the South and all that. But I would also just I really hope one day that people would say, oh, he's a smart, funny guy. That's why he's able to do all that stuff. I think there's some people that like look at me either as just a social justice warrior type person because he hates Trump, or they look at me as like, oh, what a big stupid idiot. He's got a jar of mayonnaise in his background. but I want people to know that you can be both. You know what I'm saying? You can dip Kodiak wintergreen and work on Spanish flu period pieces. God damn it, that's what I want my legacy to be.
It's a fucking good one to have. Well, Corey, where can people find the book? Where can they find the podcast?
If you go to wellreadcomedy.com, it's WELLRED comedy.com. It's a pun. You can find everything. You can find our book, The Liberal Redneck Manifesto, Dragon Dixie Out of the Dark, our album, merch, all that stuff. And our tour dates, whenever they allow us to do that again, will be up there. I'm at CoreyRyanForrester.com, but you can also find that on wellreadcomedy.com. Or, as I like to tell people, just, throw it in your Google machine and shit will come up.
Corey Ryan Forrester, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Alex. I appreciate it.